Okay, picture this, a critical software vulnerability that literally lets attackers waltz right into massive enterprise databases, and they don't even need a password to do it. No authentication whatsoever, leaving thousands of organizations exposed for weeks. That's exactly what we're unpacking today, and the stakes could not be higher. Welcome to The Explainer.
Today, we're taking a huge journey through some of the most massive tech disruptions happening right now. We're going to scale all the way from billions of dollars floating around in Earth's orbit right down to the consumer devices sitting in the palm of your hand.
All right, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, the new space race. 2, solving the Ramageddon crisis. 3, Nissan's zero-day nightmare. And 4, the future of portable tech.
Part 1. The new space race. So, starting way up at our highest altitude in Earth's orbit, we are witnessing an entire industry transforming itself. It's balancing these highly precise, historic rescue missions with just absolutely staggering commercial shakeups. Just think about the economic brilliance of this move. NASA's Swift Observatory has been up there for over 20 years, detecting these massive cosmic events like gamma-ray bursts. But its orbit is decaying. Instead of just letting it burn up and dropping $500 million on a replacement, NASA's using Catalyst Space to physically boost the telescope to a safer altitude. And the cost? Just $30 million. This orbital rescue adds 5 to 7 years to Swift's life, and it totally proves that in-orbit servicing is a hugely cost-effective strategy going forward.
But hey, while NASA is saving millions, the commercial sector is spending billions. $8 billion to be exact. That's what Rocket Lab just dropped to acquire Iridium Communications, and it is sending absolute shockwaves through the commercial space industry.
And this brilliantly illustrates the totally new dynamics of the space race. We all know SpaceX's Starlink, right? They focus heavily on consumer speed and high-bandwidth internet. But Rocket Lab's acquisition of Iridium is a massive pivot to a completely different, highly lucrative angle: mission-critical reliability. Iridium has a 75-satellite network that guarantees true pole-to-pole coverage, so they aren't competing on raw speed. They're competing on unbreakable connections for maritime, aviation, the military, and the exploding Internet of Things market where the connection simply cannot fail.
Part 2, solving the Ramageddon crisis.
Let's bring our altitude back down to Earth and look at the global macroeconomic supply chain. We are facing a hardware shortage so severe right now it is threatening to choke the entire AI boom. Brace yourself for this number: $518 billion. South Korea, alongside heavyweights like Samsung and SK Hynix, is pouring over $500 billion into building 4 new memory fabrication plants outside Seoul. It's literally one of the largest single industrial investments in global history.
But why are they spending all that cash? Well, it's to solve a crisis centered entirely around HBM, or high bandwidth memory. This is that ultra-fast 3D stacked memory that connects directly to processor chips. It's the absolute lifeblood of advanced AI accelerators, like NVIDIA's H100. Right now, demand for HBM is so explosive that major AI companies are waiting up to 18 months just to get their hands on it. It is a full-blown Ramageddon out there.
Now, this massive investment absolutely cements South Korea's dominance. They're projected to control roughly 65% of the global HBM capacity by 2030. But here's the catch: new fabs take years to build. We're talking a 2 to 3 year construction phase, plus another year or two just to ramp up production, which means this Ramageddon bottleneck, it's going to persist through at least 2028. And that is going to severely constrain how fast tech giants and startups can train their next-generation AI models.
Part 3, Nissan's zero-day nightmare.
Shifting into a slightly more urgent tone now, let's zoom in on the corporate enterprise level. The hardware shortages are tough, for sure, but the software vulnerabilities we're seeing right now are downright catastrophic. Nissan just disclosed a massive data breach stemming from CVE 2026-35273. This is a critical vulnerability in Oracle PeopleSoft, carrying a near-perfect 9.8 severity score out of 10. Threat actors, like the Shiny Hunters Group, were able to exploit this without needing any authentication whatsoever. They gained remote code execution with system-level privileges, and they quickly scraped highly sensitive employee data, things like social security numbers, payroll records, and banking details, across hundreds of organizations.
Now, what's really interesting here is the critical accountability gap in this timeline and the massive controversy surrounding it. Security researchers note that Oracle became aware of the vulnerability internally around June 15th. However, public disclosure and the emergency patch didn't arrive until June 28th.
That is a 13-day window where hundreds of organizations were left completely defenseless against an active exploit. It's a stark reminder of the intense debates happening right now regarding vendor responsibility and just how fast these critical security patches need to roll out.
So if your organization relies on Oracle PeopleSoft, consider this your emergency checklist. First, you absolutely must install that June 28th patch immediately. It is not optional. Second, review all your access logs between June 15th and the 28th for any unusual database queries. Third, reset all administrative credentials. And fourth, prepare to monitor for identity theft. This is a severe, highly active situation, and playing proactive defense is your only option.
Part 4. The future of portable tech.
Finally, let's descend all the way down to the micro level. How are these massive shifts in space, AI, and enterprise tech impacting the consumer devices we hold in our hands every single day? Well, let's start with gaming. PlayStation CEO Hideaki Nishino recently dropped this incredibly tantalizing quote, hinting at a seamless experience beyond the living room. That specific phrasing has totally ignited the rumor mill. There's intense speculation across the industry that the upcoming PS6 might actually abandon the bulky home console model entirely for a Nintendo Switch-style hybrid design. That would mark a massive return to the portable market for Sony.
So the crucial point here is the staggering technical challenge this actually presents. Look at the current market. Nintendo wins by focusing on highly stylized, less demanding family games, while the Steam Deck leverages the massive PC library at lower resolutions. But PlayStation? Their entire brand is built on cutting-edge 4K AAA graphical fidelity. Cramming the thermal management and sheer processing power required for next-gen gaming into a handheld device that won't melt your hands or drain its battery in 20 minutes is a monumental engineering hurdle, and it'll likely push the price point well north of $600.
But gaming isn't the only thing going portable. In literally the largest venture-backed startup acquisition in history, Elon Musk's xAI and SpaceX just dropped $60 billion to acquire Anisphere, the company behind the phenomenally popular AI coding tool Cursor. $60 billion! And right out of the gate, they launched an iOS app.
But here is the fascinating paradigm shift. You aren't using this app to type out code on a tiny iPhone keyboard. Instead, it completely reframes the developer's role. It allows engineers to supervise autonomous AI coding agents directly from their phones. You review pull requests, you approve architectural changes, and you monitor progress while you're completely away from your desk. It turns the developer from a typist into an on-the-go manager of artificial intelligence.
Which brings us to a vital question as we wrap up this explainer. With tools like Cursor's mobile app allowing you to deploy and monitor AI workers from anywhere, at any time, are mobile AI coding agents the ultimate productivity hack or the absolute end of a healthy work-life balance? When your digital agents are always working, is there ever a time for you to truly log off? I'll leave you to chew on how these massive tech shifts are going to reshape your daily life. Thanks for hanging out to unpack all this with me, and keep learning.